You working out? Sweating?
Yeah, I walked across the parking lot a lifetime.
I'm giving you a hard time.
Counselor.
Sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the regular council session of Bridgewater Township Council. Today is Thursday, September 4th, and we are live and in person. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, the adequate notice of this meeting was provided on December 10th, 2024 by sending written notice and electronic notice to the Courier News and the Breeze, posting on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building, and filing with the township clerk. Madam Clerk, may we have the roll call? And welcome back. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Here.
Councilman Codilla?
Here.
Councilman Ring?
Good evening here.
Councilman Pedroso? President Nogales?
Here.
Thank you.
Councilman Ring, would you please lead us in the pledge? Stand if you're able to for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under item 4, we're going to hold the minutes until the next meeting. Moving to Township Council reports, Councilman Credilla, would you provide your report, please, sir?
This evening, I'd like to report on two things. I will never again ask for the clock to be repaired. Usually, it's 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes off. This evening, it's 17 minutes off, so I had asked for it to be fixed. I'm stopping right there. I attended a ribbon cutting yesterday at 600 East Main Street for the Aurora Eye Care Center. And with the Patel family, they have the Eye Care Center, the Manhattan Bagel occupancy right next to it, and the Laundry Center adjacent to that also. I know Councilman Kirsch will talk a little bit about the Eye Care Center, but I have to say it was very impressive, and I can't wish him anything but the best. Thank you. That's all that I have.
Thank you. Councilman Ring, please.
Thank you. For those that have not seen the Bridgewater Bulletin, one particular noteworthy item in this month's issue is the bulky trash drop-off days, which I know are very popular, September 13th and 20th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Township website has additional information. I'd like to extend my congratulations to soon-to-be Lieutenant Knapp and Sergeant Hahn. I've had a chance as a longtime first responder to work with both of these individuals in the community, and congratulate both of them on well-deserved promotions. And then lastly, I received an invite earlier this week. The Greeno Fire Department is having a 9/11 memorial dedication recently built this Saturday at 9:30, which is open to the public. That is my report.
Thank you. Councilman Kirsch.
Yes, thank you. A few items on the land use side. Planning board has not met. Zoning board met. Let's see, that must have been a week ago, Tuesday, right before Labor Day. 2 residential applications, both were approved. Pre-existing improvements required use and bulk variance at 756 Harding Road, and second floor addition triggered side yard and bulk variances at 160 Oak Street. And as I stated, both were approved. It was mentioned earlier, the ribbon cutting yesterday. I'll just go into a little bit more detail. It's a building that was heard on the zoning board back somewhere in the vicinity of 2017, 2018, when I was on that board, that allowed them to construct that. It is now a very successful 3-business operation, all being run by the same individuals. Very very entrepreneurial. The Manhattan Bagel is the one that's on the corner, probably most people see. The one in the middle is the Aurora Eye Care, which was spoken of for the ribbon cutting. And then there's also a state-of-the-art laundromat. And the individuals involved, Tejas Patel, He's the gentleman on the left in the photo. And then Dr. Talia Mishkin is toward the middle next to Councilman Cardilla. A state-of-the-art facility, beautiful set of diagnostic equipment, able to really do a full-service optometry operation there. So we certainly wish them well, and they appreciated the support from Councilman Cardilla and myself. Wanted to briefly report out on two other issues that have come up earlier. One is the increase in energy costs that we're all seeing on an individual basis. That will have impact on our township budget. So I've been speaking on a regular basis with Administrator Pappas. Certainly we're doing the best that we can to continue to be as energy efficient as possible, but that was an increase that was not anticipated. Perhaps with better planning at the state level, it could have been anticipated, but unfortunately, the same way each of you is left with a higher electric bill, so are we. It won't be pretty, but we'll get through it. And then the other item I wanted to follow up on was the DOT presentation from last week regarding the closure of the Prince Rogers Bridge, which will occur sometime in the vicinity of 2020.
6 or 7.
No, not for 26.
It was 5 years out.
All right, whenever it's going to be.
For a few years.
It's still a few years out, but basically, we have some decision making potentially on a plan. Councilman Ring there were two options delivered to us. Councilman Ring suggested a third. And we are working through our staff with the DOT to make sure that they deliver the particulars of what those three options may look like, confirming hopefully that Councilman Ring's suggestion is viable in a reasonable time frame. And then we will be in touch with the mall, other businesses, residences, and those who may be impacted. The concern is if the bridge is closed and it's completely closed, that would prevent pedestrian traffic. And we're getting our hands right now on some numbers of what that looks like. We want to make sure that there is as little inconvenience as possible, while at the same time we're improving the infrastructure of that bridge. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Ring has a...
Yes, I apologize. Thank you. I forgot one of my most important items. Recently had a conversation with the school board liaison. We talked about several different things. The school district is very concerned regarding the Prince Rogers Bridge project and would like to be part of that, not only for school buses to and from schools, but after school activities on North Bridge Street. So I told them we would do our best to include them. And then there is also currently, I guess the school district has been having some discussions on school start times. And next week, September 9th, they're actually having a presentation. There's currently two proposals that they're considering regarding start times. I'm not going to go into all the details. If anyone is interested, certainly would encourage you to attend the presentation next week. I did pass on some information earlier this week to Chief Mitzak as school times adjust. That does have an impact on our crossing guards and SROs. So thank you.
Thank you. My report is as follows. While the issue of vaccine uses continues at the national level, I'd like to remind Bridgewater public that vaccine inoculations, including flu and COVID, continue to be the norm for medical practitioners in our area. In Bridgewater, we utilize the Middlebrook Health Commission and our health purveyor of health support and information. The commission is offering COVID and flu shots at 2 sessions at the Warren Township Town Hall. For folks wishing to be a little closer, Branchburg Health Department is also offering shots at their Branchburg Township. Both pieces of information can be found on the web addresses for those two organizations. By our next meeting on September 18th, I hope to be able to hold a public review of township plans for our overhaul of the Middlebrook Sewerage Pumping Station. This project will require bonding, probably in the area of $4 million, to bring the facility up to the current best practice standards. a council bond introduction on October 18th and adoption on November 6th is my plan, piggybacking on the work of Tom Genova and his team, which started last year. Introduction and adoption must take place in the same calendar year, and we're running out of meetings in 2025. I want to thank the township's Somerset Regional Sewerage Authority representatives, specifically Bob Albano, a former councilman, and Joe LaFerry, who are both here for joining the council meeting to take part in our closed session later tonight to share some insight into the regional contracting discussions. Piggybacking again on what has just been said by Councilman Kirsch and Councilman Ring, 2 weeks ago we had a presentation from NJDOT regarding a rather complex and long-term project involving Bridge over 287. At the time, Councilman Ring and Kirsch both had numerous questions and concerns. At the time, I suggested a subcommittee of the council to work with the administration and DOT to smooth the planning. And I would like to codify that issue by formally asking both if they will serve as the committee. I think they both have. So, Mr. Pappas, they will be part of the standing committee. I assume it will be chaired by Scott or somebody in your administration. That is my report. Mr. Mayor, do you have a report, sir?
Yes, thank you. Very briefly, I wanted to thank Eric Murdoch and the Eric Murdoch Foundation. They hosted a school supply and backpack giveaway over 2 weekends ago. No, this weekend, Labor Day weekend. Feels like so long ago. To provide school supplies for students in the area. There's a golf outing coming up for the Eric Murdoch Foundation next week, so for anybody who's interested in going. But it was a great event. Second or third time that they've done the backpack giveaway. It's getting bigger and bigger every year. And thank him and those that work with his foundation for that contribution to our community. I was unable to attend, unfortunately, but I sponsored an event that was hosted at the ballpark with the Imagine Center. I think some of you are aware, Imagine is a grief counseling center that was originally started in Newark, now has 2 locations and is run by an executive director, Lindsay Schambach-Cullinan, who is a Bridgewater resident. Her husband, Mike Schambach, had passed away. Both are Bridgewater residents, and as part of her grieving process, had come in contact with Imagine. She left her job as a school principal to run that organization, and they continue to try to bring some of their programs out to Somerset County. So it's a fantastic organization, and I was glad to support them in spirit, although I was not able to attend in person at their event. And last 2 events, just wanted to bring to everyone's attention for the future. There was a Taiwanese fair that was held at the mall on Saturday? I can't remember these dates now. Saturday, there you go. It was a much bigger event than I realized. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to attend it, but there was a lot of food vendors there. A lot of them came out from the New York City area, but it was again, a much bigger event than I was anticipating. It was phenomenal. The food was great, and I think they're going to come back next year to do it again, to be able to bring some of the traditions and the food and the businesses from some of our Taiwanese American residents and business owners in the area out to New Jersey, and not just in New York City. Last but not least, I attended a dance performance at the Temple on Saturday night. And for a student who's now going to Rutgers, but she performed her graduation from the traditional dance program that she was in, and it was phenomenal, the skill of the traditional dancing that she did. I think she was the only, when her and her sister performed, it was like, I was able to attend the whole thing, but it was like a 3-hour performance in terms of the dancing and everything else. So that was a wonderful event. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are now proceeding to item number 7, which is what most of you folks are here for. And I'm going to turn it over to the mayor for the swearing-in ceremony, swearing in for Lieutenant Patrick Knapp and Sergeant Jonathan Hahn. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm gonna... I had to check with the chief first. I think last time I messed up the order of speaking, and this time the chief wanted to make sure we were very clear as to who was speaking first and who was speaking second. So, like a good leader, he made sure everything was in order, and we are. So, I wanted to start by welcoming everybody to Bridgewater Township to join us at our meeting tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Matthew Mensch. I'm the mayor here in Bridgewater. For some of you, you've sat through some of these before with me presiding and hearing some of my remarks. It doesn't get old for me at all doing this. I think most of the officers know I try to get to, when I can, every swearing in or promotion. I miss a few, but I try not to, because I think when we are able to honor our police officers, it is something as a community we absolutely should take a moment to do. And tonight we have an opportunity to celebrate two of our officers, of our finest officers in our department, who are continuing their service on behalf of our residents and stepping up into positions of leadership within our department, or further leadership from what they've already had. When an officer puts on a uniform and goes out and serves our community, whether they live in our community or whether they live elsewhere and come here, our families are in their hands. It's our lives, our family, our loved ones are protected by the men and women of our police department. And when we have officers who are willing to step up and set the example for everybody else, it is a tremendous responsibility to have, not just to be able to be required to preserve and protect, but to lead, and to lead men and women that are facing difficult situations at any possible moment, and to know that now they're the ones in charge. They're the ones who have to make the decisions for those officers and our public, for their safety and for ours. And it is a phenomenal responsibility, which I am truly grateful for, that you have stepped up and continue to step forward to do. For the families of the officers that are here, thank you. Thank you for lending us your loved ones. Thank you for allowing them to come here every day and to serve our community. I want you to know that on behalf of myself and the council and our administration and the township, we will do everything we can to make sure that they are safe, that they have the tools that they need to succeed, and that they know that we have their backs the way that they have ours. And so we will do everything we can to make sure that they have a long and fruitful career here in Bridgewater, and they know that they are respected and appreciated, and that they're welcomed here in our town. I know it's an immense responsibility that they have and that you have to be able to support them in what they do. So with that, thank you for being here. And these are, I know that the chief is going to speak a little bit more about each officer, but these are two officers who, as many in the room know, of course, are just phenomenal. They are the cream of the crop that we have. I've known, Lieutenant Knapp was one of the first officers when I became mayor, who was, helping to provide guidance to me or giving me a hard time, depending on what I was doing. But an immense advocate, not just for the public, but for the police department when he was in his former role on behalf of the PBA. Amazing advocate for the police department, and a real asset to me, both helping me learn and teach, and like I said, occasionally keeping me aligned when he said, "What are you doing? You can't do that. That's a horrible idea." But I appreciate somebody who was in a position to tell me that, so I could be a better mayor on behalf of our community and our police department. And Officer Hahn, anybody who has talked to members of the public who have interacted with Officer Hahn know that I don't think I've ever had a bad word said. And not just that, but glowing reviews. Everybody who has interacted with you in every role that you've had. I don't always get feedback all the time. I mean, people might say something to the officers, "Oh, we had a good interaction." But that feedback was so often and so pervasive, it got up where I'd hear over and over again the accolades that you receive. So thank you for stepping up into this role and doing this job. So with that, congratulations to both of our officers. I will turn it over to our amazing Chief Mitzak.
All right, the mayor said it all, so I guess I'm done for tonight. He usually steals my thunder, but I'll give it a whirl. I just want to thank everyone for coming here tonight. Moments like this are some of the most rewarding we have in law enforcement. The opportunity to recognize excellence, celebrate dedication, and witness leadership rise to meet new challenges. Tonight, we do just that as we promote two outstanding officers, Sergeant Patrick Knapp to lieutenant, and Officer Jonathan Hahn to sergeant. I'll begin with Sergeant Patrick Knapp, who has consistently demonstrated commitment, loyalty, and leadership within this department. Patrick began his journey by earning his bachelor's degree from Rutgers University. Soon after that, he graduated from the Somerset County Police Academy in June of 2007. 2 months later, he was sworn in as a Bridgewater police officer in August of 2007. And from that day forward, he's never looked back. For 15 years, Patrick has served in patrol, approaching each call with professionalism, consistency, and a calm presence. Between 2016 and 2022, he's also served as our PBA president, as the mayor said, a role that takes not just leadership, but diplomacy, patience, and grit, traits that Pat has always demonstrated in abundance to the mayor and with his fellow officers. He was promoted to sergeant in November of 2022, leading first on the night shift and then transitioning to the day shift finally in January 2025, where he currently serves. Some collaterals about Pat. He's a respected member of our honor guard. He is currently actively involved in police licensing, PT testing and interviewing. He does some internal affairs work, and of course, the ever popular annual golf outing. Pat really does a great job with that. He's also been involved with the jiu-jitsu group, contributing to a sense of teamwork, confidence, and competence. Lieutenant Knapp's promotion reflects not just his years of service, but the quality of that service, marked by support for his colleagues, dedication to the department, and his steady commitment to our core values. Pat, we're proud of what you've accomplished and confident that you'll continue to lead with integrity, thoughtfulness, and calm in your new role. I now invite Pat's mother, Kathleen, and if his father wants to come up, Frederick, who is a former U.S. Marine, to assist with the swearing in.
Got the Bible?
Okay, now we'll turn to a leader who represents the next generation of supervisors in this department, Officer Jonathan Hahn, who will be promoted to sergeant shortly. John graduated from the Montclair State University in 2013, then went on to graduate from the Mercer County Police Academy in 2015. bringing with him not only strong academic credentials, but a passion for learning and a drive to serve. He began in patrol in early 2015, served with excellence, and was soon assigned to the Youth Service Bureau as a school resource officer in 2018. From there, he was transitioned to a detective in 2021, where he spent 4 years handling a range of complex and sensitive cases. Most recently, John made the decision to return to patrol to broaden his experience and further prepare for future leadership responsibilities. That kind of initiative and dedication to growth is something that we value in our supervisors. John also brings a wide range of specialized skills to the department. He is a firearms instructor, a proud member of the Somerset County SWAT team, and he is proficient in the Korean language, something that has helped bridge gaps and strengthen our connection with the community. Perhaps the most telling thing about John is his personal mission. I had him write a little biography, and this is one thing he included I thought was important. His mission is to make those who believe in him proud and to leave this department stronger for those who come after him. That's the mindset of a leader. That's the mindset of a true servant. Sergeant Hahn, today we recognize your talent, your discipline, and your readiness to lead. We are proud of your journey, and we're excited to see how your future unfolds. I now invite your wife, Christine, and your son, Johnny, to come up as you're promoted to sergeant. What?
You're throwing Suzanne off, you're going to get yelled at.
I'm a politician. I got the picture ready.
It'll be hard for your wife to put on, so I'm just going to give it to you, Bob. She's got her hands full.
Good? Pictures?
Yeah, I've got to be pictured.
Okay. You gotta come up.
We gotta face it this way for the people now, right?
Correct. Nope, thank you, huh?
Hold on, Suzanne said one more, Suzanne said one more.
One more.
Just the officers
I
and
want
gavel.
just the officers, please. Just the officers. You don't have to flip it.
Okay. One more, okay.
Oh.
Yep, there, over, perfect. This way, just a little bit. Yep. And then.
Being on the end of the
That's good, right?
Yeah, it looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, it looks good.
Good. Thank you.
Folks, you're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the council meeting, but if you prefer to celebrate at another location, that's okay. Now would be a good time.
Yeah. The trouble with being on the end of the picture.
Okay, folks, we're back under proclamations. We have none, so that finishes off item 8. Item 9, presentations, we have none. Moving to item 10, which is the meeting open to the public. Members of the public wishing to address the council on any matter will be allowed 3 minutes to speak unless there are special circumstances. May I have a motion to open to the council, please?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are open to public. Please step up, put your name and address on a piece of paper, and verbally provide your name and address, please.
I'm here tonight to address the issue of the pilot program that it looks like you are voting on.
Name and address.
I'm sorry, my name is Dan Zielinski, 715 Chimney Rock Road. As I recall, this administration ran on not doing pilots, and here we are doing a pilot. We only have 2 pilots in Bridgewater. I can't believe that this pilot is on this agenda tonight after promises of transparency and assurances from the administration and this council that there would be ample public discourse but you're preparing to vote on this tonight. I only recall speaking at this council once as it relates to this pilot, and it was for a very short period of time. And I was told that that would be happening later, that discourse. The agreement that you are prepared to sign contains errors and misrepresentations. And as I reviewed this, I was astonished at how sloppy the work was. Thanks to, I believe her name's Kathy Franco, who forced disclosure of the agreement through the Oprah process, the document became available through her social media page, which kind of leaves me wondering why we weren't given this document right from the council, why this woman had to go through that just to get this document.
By the way, sir, this is the open to the public part. There is a public hearing on 11A, which will address specifically that topic.
Okay, would you like me to come back
Yeah,
at that point?
I'd like you to hold your comments on that until you get to that.
Okay.
So we can cover any
I
other
do have-
aspects of
Sure.
that are
I
not covered by the agenda, if you
I
will, please.
I'll hold my comments.
Thank you.
I have some very specific questions that I have about
And
this
we'll look forward to hearing
program.
them.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone have any input for the council on any items that's not covered in the rest of the agenda, please? Please come forward. You want to pull that mic down so you, there you go.
Okay, you want my name?
Yeah, your name
Address.
and address, please.
Okay, I'm Barb Cook, 199 Cornell Boulevard, Bridgewater, New Jersey. I was kind of sensing a theme here from the last gentleman. I guess my first question would be, has Bridgewater Township already fulfilled its affordable housing requirement? No, because there's little information that's not quite clear. Okay. So I see that tonight there's a closed session going to be contract negotiations for affordable housing.
Would you be closer to the microphone, ma'am, so
Sorry.
we can make sure we capture all your
Okay.
comments?
I'm balancing speaking and being able to see the page. There was a meeting on August 7th. We have learned that aside from the session tonight that will be closed about contract negotiations for affordable housing, you still can't hear me.
You're speaking not only to us, but it's also being broadcast.
Right into it. Okay, sorry, whoever I'm blasting. We've learned at your meeting of August 7th that there was a public hearing and ordinance introduced. One was amending, anyway, there was a permit to allow supportive housing. That was one. I'm not going to read all the numbers for you. You know what they are. At the same meeting, there was an ordinance by the township to allow A2 Hive 3 affordable housing zone, allowing for 100% affordable multifamily residential development and disabled veterans housing pursuant to the provisions of the Fair Housing Act and any uniform housing and additional controls. Back on June 29th, bear with me, there was authorization under resolutions. The township entered into a tax agreement with, oh boy, NJGRPI, LLC pursuant to the Affordable Housing Agreement, and another one also under resolutions on June 29th, consenting to the assignment and transfer agreement between GCP Bridgewater LP and NJGRPI LLC pursuant to the Affordable Housing Agreement. I guess what we're trying to find out where I live is what is the Affordable Housing Agreement that has repeatedly been referenced. We don't We don't know what the affordable housing agreement is. Can somebody give me some concise, our neighborhood, not just my neighborhood in Bridgewater on our half of Cornell Boulevard, but all the way down to Mountain Avenue, Arlene Drive. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it. The impact is going to be interesting, and we don't know what it is. We have not heard anything about it. I guess we're responsible for keeping abreast of everything that's going on. But this was all happening and we didn't know it. So I'm here representing a bunch of folks who are probably doing what we'd all like to do, is watch the game, and regardless, never mind. So what is this affordable housing agreement that keeps being referenced? Can anybody give me a synopsis?
Ma'am, we've been discussing the affordable housing for many, many months,
I see that.
including the litigation, the requirement of the state requirement that they mandated to us, and which was negotiated down. Our planner for affordable housing has been here, has presented the various options. So there's been a lot of discussion about this. And at this point, we are committed to, I think it's 421 affordable units as part of the fourth round. I'm concerned that the implication is that you haven't heard anything about affordable housing.
Yes, I'm concerned too, as the people who would be very impacted by it.
Ma'am,
As I said, it's our fault for not knowing something that has to do with us.
I'll defer to the mayor to...
Ma'am, real quick, we can certainly, if you contact the office, we can get you a lot more information specifically on your area.
Who should we contact?
You can contact the Office of Constituent Relations. Administrator Pappas can give you his card. Scott Stevens is in the back. He might have a card on him as well. But to answer your question, the agreements that you referenced back in June are different. The town of don't relate to your property. The property you're talking about in the Cornell area, it's
where one of the new streets is supposed to go.
Right. So the plan that was submitted for the township is a township-wide plan. So there's the plan for the affordable housing is a township-wide plan involving multiple different projects.
Yes.
So, which still has to be approved by the court. So we had to file the plan. There are objectors who have filed objections. So the plan may not be final depending on what the court says. But as it relates to your property, that the area, the project you're referring to, it would be 15 apartments for supportive housing. That would be the project that is in that lot near Time to Eat Diner. It would be all just affordable housing. It would be a total of 15 units that are supportive housing. I forget, there's a breakdown of it, but that's what it would be.
I think it's often for moms and kids who...
I think that's right. I don't want to speak without having the exact information, but the plan itself is public, but it's 15 units is what is being proposed there.
Okay, then there's something for veterans also.
4 units is for veterans. 4 units is for veterans over there.
4 of the 15.
4 of the 15 is veterans, and 11 is supportive housing.
Right. And again, I acknowledge that I guess we should have known very much about this, and I'm sorry that we were lax about not staying informed. I just want to say, I'll be quick from here on in. We've lived at 199 Cornell Boulevard for 40 years, raised families there, seen births and deaths. We've been the most honest homeowners and residents. We did our due diligence before buying the property. We know the lot in question was a flood zone. I know there's a question about that. I'll just add that, by the way, we know we have one of maybe the very few documents that Mr. Strohmeyer didn't carry out of the building. This one shows clearly flood zone topography. It's very detailed. It's very detailed, and we would have wanted to be sure that was true. And I'm going to go really fast. We knew our driveway had been Prospect Street, or I guess Hillcrest Road, also been vacated. We have survived any attempts for development on that property because nothing could be dug deep enough to support structures and because runoff just couldn't be contained. With what we've seen of the proposed plans, our driveway is taken away to become one of the streets to Lot 2A. And a white vinyl fence of ours protecting our property would be destroyed, removed. To get into our garage, after 40 years, to get into our garage, we would have to work around other vehicles traveling through and from this new road, this new street. If I'm in my front yard, I would be exposed to walkers and drivers traveling on this illegal street.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but I just want to make sure, I don't know what plans you're referring to, but there's been no detailed plans for development submitted. They have to come to a planning board, like, so I'm not saying that your concerns that you're raising are not valid concerns. I'm just saying that there's no plan, there's no site plan's been developed that shows exactly where a driveway goes or a street goes.
Okay.
So,
I'm not sure.
if
I
there's
don't know
a,
if that's true.
all I can tell you is if there is a plan out there, it has not been approved.
I believe that.
Yeah, so that means the town has not, the planning board would be the entity that would do that. I think Councilman Kirsch, there's no, because the plan has not been approved by the court yet, we haven't moved
There are
forward
plans.
with,
There is a plan.
well, I'm just telling you, right, I mean,
Future.
what's that?
But all I-
Just curious, where'd you get there's a plan out there. Nothing's
We haven't
been
seen it.
submitted.
None of
We
us
haven't
up here have seen it.
So we'd love to know where this plan is.
I'll have to wait.
Do you have a copy of that plan?
Not with me, but not with.
Do you,
What
do
is
you have
this?
do you have access to that plan?
Do we have access to it? Or does, is it-
Oh, it's okay.
Well, here's what I'd like you to do.
Okay, yes,
When,
thank you.
whenever you can get access to that plan, in whatever state it's in, give it to Mr. Pappas, so that the township understands the information as you see it.
All right.
Because right now, we're not aware of any development and
That
any
shocks-
approved plan.
That absolutely shocks me, because, and again, we'll be dealing with this.
Okay.
Just want, you know, we support affordable housing. We've given to, forget that. This will be my last question. And I guess I'm not going to get an answer now. If there are benefits to any, will there be benefits to any to taxpayers for any of these plans that may happen? Is that part of it, when taxpayers benefit?
Saves a lot of legal costs.
I mean, I don't know why you're doing this.
Well, the benefit of this entire plan is that we would maintain the integrity of our entire planning across the town. If we fail to be in compliance, then builders can apply for remedy and can potentially build everything and anything they want.
We wouldn't be doing
anywhere they want to. So we have a sword kind of hanging over us, as does every other of the 500 municipalities in New Jersey. With these mandates from Trenton, saying no is not really an option. We've chosen to say yes in terms that are as positive as possible to our community. Now, in terms of the property that's near yours, in order for any shovel to go into the ground, each and every one of them is going to need to come to the planning board for site plan review.
Yeah.
And at site plan review, you would be noticed and you'd have every opportunity to review and comment and everything else. And the members of the planning board in that case, and I'm one of the members, our responsibility is to make sure that what is built is appropriate for that property and does not negatively impact others. And that can be things like access to the property, stormwater runoff, orientation of buildings, materials used on buildings. Those are the sorts of things that occur at a planning board meeting, and that's a little further down the process.
That's good to know that we'll be notified. And I promise this is my last question. Are closed sessions always taped and recorded? Like,
Notes are taken.
they're never? Closed sessions never happen. Okay, there are no minutes, nothing?
There's no recordings, and it's just summary minutes that are confidential.
All right. Again, thank you. I think I will be going back to our neighborhood from Cornell Prospect down to Mountain Avenue. Was There are a lot of homes affected by this, we think. And I appreciate your time. You very kindly told me I didn't do what I should do for all these previous meetings. And I'm just going to see, I haven't signed this, I'm going to sign it, and then I'm going to leave, and thank you. I hope you get to see part of the game tonight if you're interested.
Thank you for coming out and sharing with us.
Who's playing tonight?
Not interested. Thanks again for your patience. Oh, there's a pin there, okay.
Hello again. Dan Mastriani, 941 Spring Run Lane. All right, I have some paperwork I wouldn't mind giving everybody. Okay, I had a few minutes today. I put something on paper so people could look at it. If you don't mind, can I give you these?
Give it to the clerk.
Ago, I expressed my concerns, and
Why don't you lift the mic a bit so we can be sure to, that's it, thank you.
I expressed my concerns about 941 Spring Run Lane. They're pretty busy around my neighborhood. I had a quick conversation with Mr. Gallo. He's one of the first people I spoke to. Would like to get a little clarity on the whole entirety of Middle Road. That phrase seems to be coming and going with the breeze. They're ready to pave. There's some ambiguity on what's being paved, what's not. So if you've had a chance to peek at what basically, it's been 4 years, almost to the date, since the incident in my house. The yellow is the easement that exists. It shows the pipe, it shows the junction box, it shows the storm drain coming from Mallard. And this is kind of an ugly map. I just took a picture when I was downtown. So the whole area to the right, as the paper runs out, that's the mountain running down, collecting all that water and pushing it into eventually my backyard. My lot is lot 12. So since I haven't heard anybody give a viable proposal, I threw one together. And I know 10 excavators, people that could actually give a price to do something. All I've heard so far is it's too expensive. I don't know what too expensive means when nobody has any type of plan put together. I understand we have a town engineer, but they don't do any preliminary engineering and throw it out to bid just to get a price. And all I've heard is it's too expensive. So what I'm proposing is a very common sense. If you stand outside, I'm not an excavator, I'm not a surveyor, I'm not a plumber, but there's pitch. If you look at where the easement runs out, where it says existing pipe, the 30-inch, that's roughly where it dumps into my neighbor's yard, okay? That point down to the, at the end of my home, there's probably 3 feet of pitch. It should be more than enough to get the water from where it is to where it needs to go. What we offered day one when we met people out on the site was easements on our property lines. Drew and I, Amy and Drew, Carol and I have offered the easement between 12 and 11. If you look, the easement encroaches into a very weird corner there, which doesn't make any sense. That's no man's land. That is an area where no human wants to be in the back of all our yards, okay? We will all gladly give up whatever it takes to get this water out of our yards. In the street where you see the dotted blue line on the other side of the street away from my home, there's already a drainage system that runs down to what I call the moat. That pink line, that's the moat. It's horrible. It's filled with soot. It's probably got 2 feet of soot in it that it shouldn't have, so it can't handle the volume that it takes. So basically, that moat was created to take all the water from the other side of the street. Okay? So long story short, I think, common sense wise, if you give the water, where that junction box is where the water wants to go. Okay? There's actually on the street some kind of a weird drain that I have no idea where it goes to. If those were connected, and I haven't talked to Patty Marshall yet, but I'm sure she would give an easement through her yard so that that junction box cover, that's the one I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, that thing's 5 inches thick, 4 by 4 feet. It popped off like like a Lego. That's how much water we're talking about. So if that water were given a chance to get to the street sooner and eventually a line to connect to the moat, which should be made bigger, I would suggest a precast vault. I have a friend who makes precast. I'll get prices on all this stuff if nobody's got time or nobody wants to put the effort in. But this is at least something for someone to look at, put some common sense to it. Can we put a number on it so we can solve the problem? I don't see this being the hardest problem to solve. The water from another neighborhood needs to make it down to the reservoir. It's pretty cut and dry. So I'm not going to ramble on again. I'm not going to yell. But you did mention last week that you were asking for a report. Was anything presented? Has anyone put anything together?
Nothing yet detailed.
Okay. So there are guys out in the street, very nice top line people, pipes going in all over the place. People are getting their existing drainage remodeled. I still don't have any drainage.
Well, the section, Mr. Mastriani, as you know, Ridge Road, the parallel section of Middle Road, and Bulmer Farm Road, those 3 roads are being paved. Not the section of Middle Road that is perpendicular to those 3 roads, but those.
So that was an error?
No, that was the plan, because the portion of Middle Road that partially fronts in front of your house is part of the area that our engineer says has to be part of the engineering design, and then once that's addressed, then the rest of the roads would be paved.
That's what Mr. Gallo had stated. So the email that went out that said the whole entirety, that was just a mistake?
Yes, if that was what was said, that was not correct.
All right. Because my neighbor is livid. Joe Boyle, he's on the committee, he's livid. My wife's more than that. It just seems like everyone else that doesn't really have as big a problem as we have is getting treated with kid gloves. Everything's great. They're going to get new roads, everything's great. And we're just the people from 4 years ago that pointed this all out way before anybody else, way before Ida, 5 days. We're just getting the not yet. No money, not yet, too expensive. I'm just going to keep coming here with more and more information, and I'm just going to come here till you do something. Something needs to be done. I mean, anyone with any kind of common sense can see that this is wrong and it needs to be fixed.
Mr. Pappas, will you make sure Mr. Gallo gets a copy of this,
Yes,
please?
of course.
Can I be assured that, Mr. Mayor, you're here, you're not always here. You've done a great job of buffering me to you. You have people that take care of things for you. I need to hear from your mouth that you're going to do something for me.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying. I don't think anybody up here is. But, I don't want to set your expectations in terms of, the first step for us is doing the engineering work to figure out what you said in terms of the solution you outlined here may be the exact correct solution. We also have to look at how that impacts the other drain. I'm not an engineer, but to make sure that when we fix this part of your system, it doesn't have an impact somewhere else. The plan, as a general matter, is, as you know, we've been going section by section through areas of town with road work. Some of the road work's easy. We don't need to do drainage. We can just pave it. It's simple. Other stuff's more complicated. So this year we're doing the simpler roads in Spring Run because it's simpler to do. We have the money to do it. The roads that involve the more complex drainage projects like yours, it just requires more funding and more effort to do.
Would you consider a reasonable amount of time to do that?
Well, it's not going to happen before next spring at a minimum because this budget's already set. And the other thing that you have to remember from a public purchasing standpoint, like some of the things you mentioned about like vendors who do, like, you know, like the concrete work, things like that. For the township, we can't, we have to go out and bid every project. So we have to have an engineer fully design the project. Then we have to go out to a public bid to let all of the various companies bid on it. So even if we had somebody who said, hey, well, donating, I don't know if we could do that, but donating might be different. But, you know, somebody who says, hey, I can get you guys a good rate, I can come in and do this as a vendor. As a general matter, we can't just simply say, great, come in and do it. We have to go out through the bidding process unless there's exceptions and all that other kind of stuff. So I think what we're hoping to do, and what we've started to do, is to make sure that there is an engineering solution, not just for your project, you know, your part of the property, but for that whole area, so that the hope is that next year when we go out and do the next set of road work, that we have a plan in place that we can go out and bid, we can get the drainage work done in connection with then doing the rest of the roads in your neighborhood. That is the plan. Now, when we engineer it, they give us a ballpark price. I don't know what the ballpark price is, 500,000 or 5 million, and obviously that impacts.
What stage is the engineering at right now?
I think they're still looking at it. I mean, you say, you know, Gallo's been out there, but what's that?
For planning, for bidding, what stage is it at?
I don't know. I mean, they're
4 years into this.
well. I understand that, but what I'm telling you is that it's not going to be put out to bid until sometime at least early next year. So
When you say out to bid, the engineering or the?
no, it would
The
be.
engineering is in the works.
That's what we're saying, is that we're looking at it. Now, if it's something that we can't do, if it's too complicated to do in-house, then we have to bid out the engineering. We have to get engineers to come in, and we have a process for selecting engineers for project-specific matters. So if it's in-house, we can do it. If it's more complicated than we can handle in-house, we get an engineer, the council will pass a resolution, they'll approve spending for a particular engineer, they go out and do it.
What would you say a reasonable expected date is to have the engineering completed for something like
Winter of this year.
this winter?
Well, you know, December, January, February.
All right.
That's the plan. Like I said, we're trying to get the engineering done so that hopefully it can be included in the road plan for next spring when we present it to the council. That's the plan.
To keep the people appeased that are going to be screaming the loudest, in all fairness, too, I don't think our roads would have been paved if you didn't get a letter from 160 of my neighbors, people signing a paper. We were ghosted and told maybe someday, never, and then all these people put together something, and miraculously, we're getting our roads paved, which is great. But what I'm saying is the people that really need the work done, our road is awful. It's awful.
We agree.
Are you going to patch it? Can you do a quick patch, something?
Unless there's a giant pothole, we're not doing, we're trying to do the roads, say the right way the first time, because for too long, everyone did was just patch up the roads, and you know, that's just a waste of money. So the plan, we've gone. We knew we were going to get to spring run either last year or this year. So obviously we got to spring run this year, and now we're going to work our way through spring run as part of our road plan.
Right.
So that's, you know, that's coming. And if we have a problem with something, we need to get easements from residents to, you know, as part of this plan. If we need to do that process, we'll have to come to the residents to get approval for easements or to get, you know, to modifications, something that's already there. We'll work with the residents to do that.
All right, I'll be in touch.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council?
John Arcolio, 1110 Washington Valley Road. I got two comments, I guess, from the previous people who've spoken. I guess we'll just tackle the first one. The gentleman talked about patching his road. I've noticed that both two roads in my neighborhood, Washington Valley Road and Somerville Road in Bernards Township, both were seal coated this year. Is anybody willing to address seal coating as a viable solution to extend the life of our roads? I mean, why is the county spending the money? Why is Bernards Township spending the money? Whereas the portion of Hunter Road adjacent to between Washington Valley Road and Somerville Road is a disaster, ongoing disaster. Even the previous work you've spent.
Yeah.
I mean,
seal coating
has to be
works.
some merit to it if the other.
Oh, it is. We've done seal coating in Bridgewater. We did seal coating in 2020. We did seal coating in 2021. We stopped. We haven't done it in the past couple years, because seal coating only works for roads that are, they have to be in good enough shape.
Correct.
That it can't be, if it's already, it looks like a war zone, you can't do it. And what we found now is that where we are with the road plan, there's not enough roads that meet the criteria for the seal coating to spend the money doing that, because right now, the roads have either been paved or we're about to pave them, and we don't want to spend money to do that. Long-term, that's probably going to be part of the road plan, which is roads that are newly paved, if you seal coat them 7 to 8 years from when you paved them, you can extend the life from a new road out.
All right, that sort of addresses that issue. Second one was affordable housing. The couple here described Cornell Boulevard as a lot that's unsuitable for development. I noticed that since 2017, there's another property in Bridgewater. It's called Patriots Green on Radel Avenue. Is that currently being in any plans of development? Has any been submitted to that, or is it still just an idea?
That's approved already. The planning board approved that in 2017. Yeah, say 17, I thought it was 18, but yeah.
Yeah, but is it being developed? I mean,
it's part of the. It's part of the.
Is it going to be developed? It's a yes or no question.
Well, it's the developer is the one that develops it. So it's approved. Developer could go in at any point in time and develop it. It's part of the third round plan. So that requirement does not. We're not building extra units somewhere else because that has not been built. That's into our calculation from the third round.
Does that ever expire, the fact that it's not been built?
No, but at some point in time, if we get to like the fifth round and it's still not built, then at that point in time, they could come back to us and say, you got to make up your 220 units somewhere else.
Is the state tracking that, or is they just going to?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I see your concern. All right, thank you very much. And just a general note, I don't want to take too much time, but there may be more questions I have at 11A, but Bridgewater's always been the town with the highest ratables in the county, and we lost that title to Franklin Township several years ago. And it all was due to a gentleman named John P. McMurray, who was planning board president in Bridgewater from 1930 to about approximately 1960. He was also the first planning board in the state of New Jersey, on the county level at Somerset County. He brought in a lot of major companies, and we really need leadership like that in this town to salvage the commercial real estate base. It's going down the crapper, and that's all I can have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council?
Good evening, Kathy Franco, 766 Weemac Road. A couple things not having to do with the pilot. One is, I know the woman who came up and spoke about the affordable housing, you spoke about the fact that it hasn't come in front of the planning board. I just need to bring to everybody's attention, planning board has canceled like every meeting this summer. Because of lack of agenda, and yet we're still waiting on a master plan. Now, I know I was promised I'd see that in September. So that's my expectation, and I will be at every meeting sharing that expectation this month. I also wish that Councilman Pedrosa was here. I've also noticed his absence all summer. Page 6 of the newsletter that came out this week, I just want to remind residents to pay careful attention that the sewer payment is due on September 1 with a grace period until September 10th. Resolution 13A. So 13A is a resolution which amends, I think, or is related to the pilot ordinance.
Did you say 13A?
13A is a resolution to allow fire districts to get a piece of the action when the pilot goes through. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In a quick,
Whatever
in a quick and dirty
money
summary.
is derived, remember, 5% has to go to the county. The rest of the 95%, the township gets to decide how it is distributed. They can provide money to the fire district, to the library, to whatever purposes.
Right, just, you could choose to provide some to the schools, but apparently it's
Sure.
only the fire district which
Remember,
will
the
be.
fire district is a taxing jurisdiction.
No, I understand
They
that. So
can
is the
raise
school
whatever money
district.
they want.
So is the school district.
Right.
So is the county. And the county normally gets 15%, and they'll get 5% of whatever your negotiated financial agreement is, not 5% of the assessed value of the property. So they're not just losing 10%, because if you're only going to charge in the pilot 50% of what normally would have been charged, now they're going to be getting, instead of 5%, they're going to be getting 2.5%. So
That's not
sure.
exactly right. With a pilot, it's off of it's the assessment of the land stays the same, and it's off the increase
off
of
the improvements, right?
Right. So in other words, they're not.
They're getting 15% of the land.
No, but right. Nobody loses something they're getting now. They don't share in the increased
But
value.
we're not getting what we were getting 5 years ago when there were improvements on that property.
Oh, well,
which
whatever-
have since been knocked down.
Well, right. It's the baseline is whatever is
Well,
here.
And let's face it, when it was the Center of Excellence project, okay, which did not have a pilot proposed on it, which we never saw an ordinance come before this board.
There was one proposed.
No, there was not. Well, there was one. No, there was a resolution proposed
was
by
one proposed.
Councilwoman Rose, okay, which you brought issue about.
I did, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, you did.
Right.
Because
There was one approved. That's my point.
no, that was not approved.
I'm sorry, not approved. There was one
Yeah,
proposed.
but that was a resolution. It was not an ordinance.
But it was being talked about. It just
was
hadn't been, it never voted on because it didn't
Okay.
have the votes. It was proposed.
Okay,
It
so
was being
so it-
contemplated, yes.
I don't know who was contemplating it because it was never discussed
The
in a public
developer
meeting.
is the one who,
It was never discussed in a public meeting.
well, it was discussed a lot in the public meeting, Mrs. Franco. There was resolutions on it. There was discussion
No,
about it.
no, there was not. You know what? Then I will come to your office this Friday.
Okay.
And you can have your secretary show me those resolutions that were proposed for a pilot on the Center of Excellence.
I didn't say that it was a resolution proposed on the pilot. I said there was discussions about a pilot.
No, you said there were resolutions.
And there was, and we passed one saying we would never approve one on the Center of Excellence project.
Okay, okay.
So there was a resolution on it, yes.
But by the way, Ms. Franco, the pilot only applies to the improvement on the
I,
property.
no, I understand that. Okay, but my other
Not to the
concern is,
land.
and then I have a concern in general about pilots.
I understand.
Because pilots can only take place on areas in need of redevelopment.
True. Correct.
Now, up until this year, we only had 2 areas in need of redevelopment,
That is true.
which were Center Bridge and the mall. And both of those had pilots. And now we have this coming up as an area in need of re-improvement, okay? And it's asking for a pilot. And we've since had 3 more areas in need of redevelopment. So, are we to expect as taxpayers that all of these developers are going to try and cut deals with you? That's my concern. Okay, which doesn't have to do with that specifically with 12, but it's just my concern. But okay, so anyway, getting back to 13A. If you vote in favor of the ordinance, 12A and B tonight, when exactly does that ordinance become effective?
The ordinance becomes effective right away, but the pilot doesn't kick in.
No. Does the ordinance have like a 20-day?
Yeah, every ordinance has a window for, it's like a 20-day, I think it's 20 days on everything.
Okay, so how can you vote on a resolution to an ordinance that isn't going to actually take effect for 20 days?
Because it's,
I'm just asking.
yeah, because when it takes effect, then this is the policy statement of the ordinance that would go with
Should
it.
you wait 20 days to do that?
No.
Okay, I'm just asking. Just doesn't make sense to me. Okay, 13B. I'm very confused about this because you're asking for additional funds for the year 2024. Now, I could swear we're in September of 2025.
No, but the year is correct. This,
Okay.
This,
And I would have thought that those books would have been closed
this is
on
work
December
done-
31st.
This was for work done in 2024.
And so basically, maybe to help me understand, this should have been a resolution that was brought forth in 2024
Can't argue with that one.
Well,
So you're 9 months late in figuring out how much you owed,
no, it depends on, in some instances.
or that you hadn't
when
approved to pay this
Sometimes the vendors don't always submit their invoices timely.
But
That's
don't
why-
they bid on them?
What's that?
Didn't you speak with Sullivan about
for-
how much are you going to charge us for each of these areas in need of redevelopment?
But not for a professional services. We have an idea, but sometimes, even if we have an idea, sometimes they don't submit the invoices right away.
So the
Other
idea
times it
was
goes
for
over.
him, the idea was to not exceed $20,000 in the year 2024.
Right.
And they've gone $55,000 over that.
Yes.
So
we
you
asked
didn't have
them-
a very good idea.
We asked them to do more work, so we expand the.
And so you asked him to do more work in 2024.
Correct.
He did more work in 2024.
Correct.
Should you not have anticipated and increased that line item in order to cover that 9 months ago?
Yeah, but that's what we're doing, is we're increasing, this gets paid out of the
But you're 9 months late.
2024. This is when we
Are you
were
a,
able to get
are
through
you a
it.
cash or an accrual? Basic accounting.
We pay based off of what we anticipate every year to be.
So you should have anticipated
Correct.
that would have been in 2024.
Right, and
you
it
should
was-
have passed a resolution in
And it
2024.
was more than we anticipated. That's right. So now
It was
it gets paid out of the 2024 budget.
more than 2 times what you anticipated. It was almost 3 times what you anticipated.
Not anticipated, we expanded the project.
Anyone else wishing to address the council?
Jen Lochran, Bridgewater. I'll keep it brief because obviously everybody has a lot more serious topics than I do. But first, I wanted to thank Lieutenant Knapp and Sergeant Hand for their service and their families for their sacrifice and having to worry about their, their safety. And also the Bridgewater Police Department because they've invited us once again to National Night Out for October 30th, which is a really great event where all of the first responders come out and the kids get to, see all the trucks, but they also get to come skateboard with us. So I just wanted to share my appreciation for that. Really, I wanted to comment on Camp Cromwell. I don't know if you know this about me, but I really, really dislike pickleball.
Oh.
I do. But I'm so happy to see this facility being considered for this space because there's so many people in the community that don't share my feelings about pickleball. And also for the basketball courts because Eric Murdoch, when I was a kid, he was a hero to us, and to have such an advocate in our community for a sport that, similar to skateboarding, tends to attract kids that don't always have access to the same kinds of programs. And his program is great. My kids have taken it. He's a wonderful advocate for the community. So I wanted to thank you for moving forward on that. I did want to perhaps advocate for the consideration of activities like skateboarding and BMX, particularly BMX, because in that space, you're upgrading the mountain biking trails, but there's this thing called a pump track, and kids that ride bikes really, really, really like them. And I know a lot in my own neighborhood who have had the police called on them for digging up holes and making, little jumps and stuff. So if you could just give that some consideration, that would be great. And it's good to see you all again, and I hope you have a good night. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council? Motion to close public input, please.
Make that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're closed for public input on item 10. Moving to 11A, public hearing and final action ordinance. Ordinance of the Township of Bridgewater, County of Somerset, New Jersey, approving an application for a long-term tax exemption and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement, also known as a payment in lieu of taxes, parentheses, pilot, with AR Bridgewater Urban Renewal LLC. I'll ask Mr. Pappas or the mayor to comment on this, please.
I just want to say, I know this is going to be the public hearing on this, but this is the product of a lot of work, a lot of time, and this is going to be an enormous financial benefit to the township, and we're glad that this is getting done.
If there are any comments, could I have a motion to open to the public, please, on 11A?
I'll make the motion to hold the public hearing on 11A.
Second, please. I'll second it.
Second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're open to the public for 11A. Anyone wishing to address the council? Come on up, Dan. I know it's redundant. Please say your name and address again, please, sir.
And my name is Dan Zielinski, and I live at 715 Chimney Rock Road.
Thank you.
You know, listening to the two residents as well, I think it's pretty obvious that more information is needed, or better clarity of information is needed in what's going on in the town. It's very difficult to work through a lot of these issues, to understand these issues, as is this pilot program. Where I left off was that the agreement, which Ms. Franco got an Oprah request from, in reviewing that, I can see that you're prepared tonight to sign an agreement that contains errors and misrepresentations. A detailed reading of the document revealed to me several misrepresentations or errors. The methodology, note that the ASC method used in the financials does not match any method described in Article 4 as an example, and I'll get into detail on this. Second error that I noted was the majority, if not all of the financials, the base rate is used instead of the annual gross revenue, and this isn't really clearly explained. The third piece of note that I picked up on was for building number 7 and building number 8, the determination of 2% annual service charge. I'm having a hard time understanding that. Lastly, and most importantly, the deal is implicitly bad for residents, taxpayers, the schools, the county, and firefighters. An analysis of the financials presented in the agreement and the comparison of taxes paid with and without the pilot are kind of startling to me. You are giving the developer an average tax break of over 45% for 30 years. That extrapolates out to about $104 million. That's $104 million that residents, taxpayers, us, all of us in this room, will have to carry. Over $150 million will be diverted from, or can be diverted from, the school's revenue, $103 million from the county, and $5 million from firefighters and potentially the library. Still, and likely the sole motive, the municipality, the council, the administration will see an increase of $77 million, which can continue to support what I had been coming to this council most of last year and part of this year to say are out of control spending patterns. And I've graphed this out for anybody that might be interested in seeing it in the room. This represents a tax savings to the developer of $103,933,928 in a tax savings to the developer. A gain in taxes to the municipality or to the administration is $77 million, $77,625,351. That's a gain for the administration. Loss in taxes to the schools could be as much as these numbers are like so large, 153,017,769. Loss to the county, 37,945,630. Loss to the fire department and a library over the course of 30 years, 5,192,911. And the residents, the taxpayers, us, the burden to us, we're the losers in this, is over almost $104 million. This all begs the question, why are we so in favor of a pilot at this point? What is it that makes us believe in this community? I grew up here, I'm sure many of you have, I'm sure people in the audience have. Why are we discounting Bridgewater's land at this point? I don't understand that. Has Bridgewater fallen so far as a desired community that we believe a 46% tax breaks must be given to developers seeking to build warehouses and offices? I don't understand that. What does it say to companies like, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, in Gridion, who made a full fair share investments in that property? I hope you know the property that I'm referring to. They got in, they gutted that building, they refurbished it, and it's now functioning as part of the pharmaceutical industry. And what does this foretell of the truck depot planned for the Ethicon property and other interested companies? Why are you having what I perceive to be an economic fire sale here in Bridgewater? Or could the reason simply be the most obvious, which is strictly the administration, not the taxpayer's point of view? Pilots divert more money into the administration's coffers that can support the current unchecked spending that has resulted in record tax increases of the last several years. I spoke about this the tail end of last year and the front end of this year, and a council member supported that the tax levy has increased to over 20%. I just don't understand. It means that we're cutting sweetheart deals with developers, hurting residents, schools, the county, firefighters, the library. I think it's a shame. So this is another graph. It shows the tax break to developers and the taxes paid by the developer. That's the tax break, and that's what's paid by the developer. So I very much oppose this pilot program, but even before that, I have to say, in reviewing the document that Ms. Franco Oprah'd, it's riddled with math errors. And it doesn't take a college degree to take a detailed look through that document and find the errors. I think it's a shame that you guys are voting on this tonight, and I strongly recommend you step back and take another look at this before you involve Bridgewater, the taxpayers, in an agreement that you're going to make that could last well over 30 years.
Mr. President, may I ask a couple of clarifying questions? You've used a few phrases, and I want to make sure that I'm understanding you.
Sure.
You've used the phrase loss. of revenue, and you've also used the phrase, you know, what that last graph that you had?
Well, it's, when you give a tax break.
Oh, a tax break. All right.
to
So,
a
I just want to understand your definition.
It's a tax break that you're giving to a developer.
I'm not going to debate your opinion. I want to make sure I understand.
I'm answering your question.
I want to make sure that I
What is
understand.
your next question?
I'm going to ask you a question. I want to make sure I understand your definition. So if we have a property that at full payment would be 100,
That's right.
but under this program would be 50,
Well,
you call that a loss. You call that a loss of 50. 100 minus 50
well,
is
the
50.
the property has potential to it.
Okay.
And it's being sold
But the
at a
assumption
discount.
the assumption is that the property could be developed and actually reach that 100.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily reality. That's speculation.
The over-under on that is, well, we'll take what we can get. We're not going to try to get more for it. We're going to discount it. That's what I am saying. We are discounting Bridgewater's property to warehouse developers. That's not what we want in Bridgewater.
All right, thank you for your comments. Do we have a second bite at the apple from Mrs. Franco? By the way, I want to leave you with two things. One, the Board of Education and the fire districts are both taxing jurisdictions. They get whatever money they need to run their part of the business. When somebody gets up here and says, gee, you're disadvantaging the school system because they're not getting the money they need, that is patently false. Go ahead, Mrs. Franco. Well, you're closed, sir. Please sit down. Please sit down. Please sit down. Mrs. Franco.
Hi, Kathy Franco, 766 Weemac Road. I think I've stated over and over my feeling about pilots. I do want to thank the clerk's office for their graciousness the day after your last meeting, because I did go and visit them, and they let me look at the document that was available at that time. At that time, though, there were no numbers whatsoever. It talked about an Appendix A and an Appendix B, and how it would be cross-referenced to all of that. So I did an Oprah, and fortunately, when I did receive the Oprah, it had all the numbers, so they could be looked at. And indeed, my concerns are similar to what Mr. Zielinski had talked about, which is that I know members of this council don't like us little people down here calling it a discount. But to me, if you're not charging 100%, it's a discount. I know. I buy all my clothes on discount. I don't pay 100% for anything, okay? But I pay 100% of my taxes. I pay for what my property's assessed value is and what the improvement to that property's assessed value is. So indeed, I don't understand, and I guess part of my big frustration with this pilot and all these areas in need of redevelopment is we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for a master plan. And I think we could have attracted individuals to buy properties in this town and not come to our zoning board asking us to bend the rules all the time or asking us to, oh, can we have an area in need of redevelopment? Because as I said, areas in need of redevelopment put the trains on the track, which then asks for a pilot. It's happening all over the state of New Jersey, and I know that. I see it. I see it in Warren. I see it everywhere, okay? And I think that for Bridgewater Township government, it's a quick fix. It's a way of not raising your tax level, the percentage that you're charging, because you'll be getting a bigger bite of this apple. And yet, during campaigns, we, the public, will hear oh, well, the school can't control their taxes, but look at how we controlled ours. So those are my frustrations. And I would hope that you do not approve this pilot. And thank you very much for your time.
John Arcolio, 1110 Washington Valley Road. I basically looked at some of the numbers in the pilot. The biggest one I see is that it's based on every year it's based on approximately a 2% increase in the rate that the developer is willing to pay. I lived in Bridgewater long enough under this administration to see greater than 2% increases in my tax rates and the assessed value of my property and improvements. Why is this developer limited to 2%? Why is the taxpayers having to go 5, 6, 7, 8% increases in their assessed value on their improvements? Can you explain that to me, why this document is fixing it at 2% when you people can't keep tax increases at 2% or less? Please explain it to me. Because this property's already at a 50% discount, and if you guys keep spending money and tax increases go beyond 2%, we're talking about an even greater discount, because taxpayers are going to have to pick up the balance when there's tax increases beyond 2%.
Thank you for your comments, John.
Second of all is that you people are proud to take pride in our school system. You claim how great it is. You tout how it brings people to Bridgewater want to live here. How can you keep robbing the school district of revenues? Because we haven't have a long track record. We don't have a long track record of offering pilots.
We're not robbing anything from anybody. The school district raises what it needs to provide education.
They get it. Are you planning to give them anything out of the $3 million that you're planning to get from these properties if you build 200,000 square foot warehouses? Is anything going back to the school system? I see you laughing, Mayor Mensch. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing. So 0 to the school district out of any proceeds from this pilot, correct?
Thank you for your comments. Could I have, in the absence of anyone else, could I have a motion to close? If not.
Hi, good evening. Andrew Bucko, 543 Berrywood Lane. If the pilot is not a simple cash grab, I would challenge the council to put the item back on the table, fix the math errors in it, and also commit to dividing the revenue up amongst the schools, the library, fire districts, at the ratio of whatever the tax rate is for that particular year. I challenge you to do that and prove to all of us here and the residents of Bridgewater that this is not simply a cash grab. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Motion? Oh, boy.
Joan Geiger, 154 Hillside Avenue. Some of you may or may not know that I am an attorney and I am a mediator. And I would ask you to consider something tonight. In view of the comments made, in view of the fact that this is the first time, well, yesterday was the first time that I heard that we were talking about a 45%, whatever you want to call it, okay, on taxes. If you vote no on this tonight, you get negotiating power. I would be willing to bet that that developer will come back and pay more. So that's one option that you have. The other concern that I have is if this developer on this property, and I believe Mr. Zielinski brought this up, gets a 45%, whatever you want to call it, how do you stop the next developer from getting the same treatment? And where does that go? You have power, gentlemen, tonight. You can vote this down. You vote it down tonight, I guarantee you, you will get a better deal tomorrow. Thank you.
Just as a reminder, we discussed this at a public meeting in May. We didn't approve it in May and got a better deal between May and now, which involved payments in the short term because the pilot itself doesn't kick in until the the building's actually built. So the revenue that we see from this doesn't happen immediately, but we made sure to get a deal that gets us revenue now when we discussed this in public and went over the pilot in May. So we are pleased that this agreement is here with additional revenue.
Please.
And any
Ms.
and
Geiger, please.
thank you.
All right, can I have a motion to close public input?
There's-
Jen Lochran, I'll admit I'm not great with numbers, so I'm not even going to attempt to talk to that. I have two questions. How long has the property been not used?
Since maybe 2008 or 2009, because we originally was zoned for only one use. We then tried to subdivide it so that it allowed for smaller uses. That didn't work to attract businesses. That was in 2011-12. Then there was the original COE proposal from, the first started talking about it in 2014 maybe. Obviously, it became very public in 2016 through 2020, and now we're on this version of it.
And my second question is, what was the last pilot program that Bridgewater has?
The mall.
It was the mall.
It could have been Center Bridge. We only have two right now. I don't know which was first, the mall or Center Bridge.
Okay, that was it. I just had those two questions. Thank you.
Ridwana Isla, 32 Timberline Drive. Just building on what we've heard today, I just want to know, we're working on the Center of Excellence project. Why can't we be more excellent in this pilot project? There's a lack of accountability. There's a lack of transparency. There's no public audits in that contract, and there's a complete lack of financial statements. If you've done your due diligence, if you've done any IDEs, any kind of partnership contract, this is unacceptable for Bridgewater, especially for something that's called Center of Excellence. We can do better.
It's actually not called the Center of Excellence.
Move to close.
I'll make a motion to close and move to final action on 11A.
Second, please. I'll second it. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Well, I'd like a brief opportunity to comment. So we've heard a lot of commentary tonight about 100% value and 45% value, and we even heard the phrase "sweetheart deals." That was an interesting one that was thrown around, falsely, I might add. And if anyone thinks that there's a sweetheart deal going on, they should go to the appropriate authorities to investigate that. And if there is no evidence, they should have the courtesy to those of us who sit on the dais to keep that opinion to themselves. But as far as the whole, what is this property valued at? The whole concept behind a pilot is 100% is not viable. It will not be built to 100%. That's the reason it hasn't been built already. So the whole idea behind a pilot is to come to an agreement that is appropriate for the municipality while still being financially feasible to build. So this comparison to 100% is fantasy. This property right now is very poorly underperforming. If we do nothing, it will continue to underperform. If through this pilot, we are able to come to an arrangement that is both appropriate for the municipality and appropriate for the developer, we will be able to get this property closer to its full value on our books. And when I say this property, it could be the one we're talking about here. It could be anyone. It could be any of the properties. It could be anywhere in New Jersey. That is the way pilots work. They are partnerships to make the development capable of being successful. in the absence of an agreement, nothing will be built. When nothing is built, there's no revenue. The municipality doesn't get it, nobody gets it. And then we have land that lays fallow. That's why it is an area in need of redevelopment. That is why pilots, when structured correctly, are appropriate. My question, though, is there have been some allegations about the math isn't right, the numbers aren't accurate. So my question to the mayor and to the administration is, do you have full faith and confidence in the numbers that we're about to vote on?
Yes, and the numbers, I don't know where some of the residents got some of the numbers from, but our agreement has a formula that doesn't have specific numbers on it. Our numbers that we get are from our financial advisors. I think the numbers they're referring to may have been some numbers proposed by the developer. We rely upon the numbers of our financial advisors who have given us their assessment. So there's no issue with the numbers. If there's some typo somewhere and I'm misspeaking, then obviously there is nothing that prohibits us from correcting if there is a typo. But I've looked at this. I've asked our professionals to make sure the numbers are correct. They say that they are. So I have full confidence that they are good to go.
And Mayor, do you agree with the assessment with my assessment that if we do nothing on this and other properties, they will continue to be underperforming?
It's even worse than that.
They will in turn become eyesores. They will become drains on our resources rather than benefiting our community.
It's worse because this project, while it's currently politically valuable to talk about its warehouses, the majority of the property is supposed to be life sciences, specifically built for the life science users. So in order to do that, that's a specialty build. You don't just go out and, as a developer, and just build a shell of an office building and then see who comes in to lease it out. You build it to spec. Those companies who are going to want to do that kind of investment want to know with certainty what their costs are going to be. So by doing a pilot, we provide financial certainty, not just for the developer, the big bad developer, but for the end users and those companies that we want to attract here, because they know those costs, those tax costs everyone talks about, they're not borne by the developer, they're passed on to the tenants. So if we want to attract the tenants, because towns all over the state are trying to attract people to their town, and they're offering, as we pointed out, we have not typically used pilots as a financial incentive to manage and attract the businesses that we want. Other towns are. So by not considering that a tool in our toolbox, we are limiting ourselves, while other towns are saying, hey, big, great life sciences company, come to us. And we want to sit back and just simply say, well, we're Bridgewater, so people are going to come. That will work sometimes, not every time. And the worst part is if this project were to fail, we could either see the developer come back with the original Center of Excellence proposal and say, we can't build life sciences under this financial model, so we're coming back with either hundreds of apartments or they're going to come back for all warehouses. And neither one of those are acceptable alternatives. So if we want to attract the life sciences companies that we want in Bridgewater, that we've been successful at in Bridgewater, this is a way to do it. And in this site in particular, as we've said, it's been vacant since 2008. There's been various proposals. None have worked. This will allow us to work with our development partners to attract the businesses that we want, which are the high quality life sciences over the next number of years. And by the way, the financial benefits from this that the township will see, the folks that are saying on this dais right now, it will be a couple years before the biggest amounts of money come in, which means we'll take the flack now, but the political benefits of that will be in a couple years when some of our successors are here. So it's not like this is a quick fix that we do this and all of a sudden there's an inflow of cash and we have $1 million extra in next year's budget. Not how this works.
Yeah, pilots do not become effective until a certificate of occupancy is issued for the completed building. Okay.
So Mayor, just a final.
Guys, no, please, sir. We're not open to the public.
It's a one-way conversation.
We're not open to the public.
So Mayor, is my assessment accurate that in the absence of doing something, properties like this will continue to underperform?
Yep. That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Roll call.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. All right, we're moving to 11B, an ordinance of the Township of Bridgewater in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, providing for special assessment of the cost of certain improvements on Block 483, Lot 17, C0011, C001.2, C001.3, C005.1, C005.2, C006, and C007 on the official tax maps of the township and authorizing special assessment agreement in conjunction therewith. This, by the way, is income. Mr. Pappas, our mayor, would you want to offer any insight on this?
Nothing additional.
Okay. Okay. Any discussion? If not, could I have a motion open?
So moved.
Second, please?
I'll second it.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're open for public input and hearing final action on 11B. Seeing no one rise, motion to close public input, move for final action, 11B, please.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. 12A and 12B, I'd like to consent on both as introductions.
Can't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have to do it separately. I beg your pardon. 12A, an introduction of the Township of Bridgewater, amending sections 126-321.10 of the Bridgewater Township Code to clarify dwelling units. This was an extensive discussion 2 weeks ago. In fact, we were on the cusp of holding up. This is a change to an ordinance that was just completed, and I believe Councilman Ring was very strident in wanting to make sure this was handled at an appropriate time. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any comment on that? If not,
I'll move its introduction.
okay. Second, please.
I'll second.
All those have been, let's say roll call on introduction.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes, and you're,
Final action for this ordinance is scheduled for October 18, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. here in the municipal courtroom. Public inspection of this ordinance is available on the township website, bulletin board, and in the clerk's office. This ordinance will also be presented to the planning board for their review and recommendation.
thank you. Moving to 12B, an ordinance of the Township of Bridgewater, amending the R10A Single Family Zone, Section 126-3.
I'm sorry, the public hearing for this is not October, it's September 18th, excuse me. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you. I'll repeat it. An ordinance of the Township of Bridgewater amending the R10 Single Family Zone, Section 126-308.1E of the Township Code to clarify dwelling units and maximum building size. Any discussion?
Goes with 12A, and I will
Okay.
move its introduction.
Okay, second, please.
Second.
Okay, a roll call on introduction, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Sorry, I was distracted in good count.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes.
Final
I'll give you
action?
plenty of time now.
Thank you, I'm sorry. Final action is scheduled, for this ordinance is scheduled for September 18th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. here in the municipal courtroom. Public inspection of this ordinance will be made available on the township website, the bulletin board, and in the clerk's office. This ordinance will also be presented to the planning board for their review and recommendation.
Moving to the introduction for 12C, an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Administrative Ordinance, Article 14, Department of Police, Sections 4-83, Promotions of the Municipal Code of the Township of Bridgewater to amend the Police Promotion Ordinance.
I know we had a presentation on this, and I had given some feedback. I'd like to thank the administration and Mr. Corsini for incorporating some of that feedback in here. I'm happy to introduce it.
Thank you. Second? I'll second it. One of the things I had I had favored leaving the probationary piece in. As it turns out, I understand from our legal expert that it should never been in there before, and he didn't know how it ever got in. So anyway, if there are no other issues,
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordella?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
yes.
Final action for this ordinance is scheduled once again for September 18th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. here in the municipal courtroom. Public inspection of this ordinance will be made available on the township website, the bulletin board, and in the clerk's office.
Okay, moving to resolutions. Resolution regarding the appropriation to certain fire districts pursuant to NJSA 48:14-34. This basically recites the parameters for the option for the township on receipt of pilot funds to be able to distribute appropriately, and limits specifically the amounts that can be provided through volunteer fire companies and the like. So
Actually, to the fire districts.
I understand.
Okay. You said volunteer fire company.
Well, the fire districts are limited to the amount that they can provide to the fire companies. So insofar as we feel we're giving dollars to the fire companies, we are not. We are giving it to the fire districts.
Yep.
Okay.
I appreciate the administration working on this as well. I know I was rather vocal on this. I will
Yes.
move 13A.
Second, please.
I'll second it with
Okay.
a comment. This one is specific to a specific property, but I think I'm looking at it as a template in moving forward for any fire district, for any property that's, affected by it. And I think the 5th paragraph says that, whereas.
Yep, that was the revision.
Okay, roll call, please. 13A.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordella?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. 13B, authorizing an additional $55,000 to Michael Sullivan of the firm Clark Caton Heinz PC redevelopment planner for the professional service contract for the year 2024 for a total amount not to exceed $75,000 to be funded through the Legal Services Fund account. And the date is correct. I had asked Grace about that, 2024. This is a residual owing from last year. Could I have a motion, please, on 13B?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second, please.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordella?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. Okay, for C and D, I'd like to, I'm going to read them and go for consent. C is authorizing change order number 1/final change order, decreasing the contract price from $682,573.80 to $645,643.50, a decrease of 5.41%, or $36,930.30, authorizing acceptance of the project, release of the performance bond, acceptance of the maintenance bond, and final payment to Sofelli and Son Contract Incorporated, 18 Franklin Avenue, Nutley, New Jersey, 07110-3234, for the 2024 prep project, which includes the entire lengths of Glen Road, Saratoga Avenue, Crest Drive, Shady Lane, Deerhead Drive, Haywood Street, Cathy Court, and Betsy Ross Place, funded through the 2024 Capitol Road project. D is authorizing change order number 1 and final change order, decreasing the contract price from $1,153,943.65 to $1,080,741.35, a decrease of 6.34%, or $73,202.30, authorizing acceptance of the project, release of the performance bond, acceptance of the maintenance bond, and final payment to S. Brothers Incorporated, P.O. Box 317, South River, New Jersey, 08882, for the 2024-4 roadway improvement project, which includes the entire lengths of Barber Drive, Catalpa Drive, Lakeview Drive, Long Road, Starview Way, and Stella Drive, which is Route 202/206 to Starview Way, funded through the 2024 Capital Road Project. Are there any comments regarding those two items? If not, could I have a motion to resolve them?
Make that motion.
And a second, please?
I'll second that with a comment. I think the resolutions here contradict public opinion about excessive and carefree spending and so forth. We have two projects here that were engineered. Vendors were selected based on bids and work was done, where we have roughly almost $100,000 in decreased pricing.
And Mr. President, just a brief comment. Projects, especially complex projects, there are minor adjustments that occur as the project goes on. It's designed, it's engineered, it's drawn up in a particular way, and perhaps the project is delivered 99% of that way. But at the margins, any construction project has deviations. That's typically what happens here.
Mr. President, could I just make one comment? There have been instances where we've come to the council and asked for an increase. In those instances, most of the time it's because once the project work began, a resident, a property owner, would then point out a drainage concern that we were not aware of, and we try to be responsive to those comments.
Motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second. You have a motion and
Oh,
a second.
I think we already did.
Roll call.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordella?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. We're up to E, a waiver of fire permit in the amount of $60. Turn the page. For Pioneer Family Success Center in connection with a family campfire event to be held at the Bridgewater YMCA, 601 Garrettson Road, Bridgewater, on Thursday, September 19th, 2025. Rain date is September 25th, 2025. I will move that one. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordella?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. Now, before we move to the closed session, I want to alert the public that I expect additional action to follow after the meeting, but I'm going to read the title to the resolution that I believe will be offered after the closed session reopens to the public. It's authorizing a grant to Novell LLC of 610 Anderson Avenue, Cliffside Park, New Jersey, 07010, for up to $525,000 from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to enable Novell to purchase property at Route 202-206, known as Block 406 1.20.02, property to build 15 units of affordable housing. These units, by the way, well, I'll cover more of that later. We're now going to move to a closed session. Be it resolved, the Bridgewater Township Council body will now convene in a closed session to discuss the following: litigation for affordable housing, litigation overview from our SRVSA representatives, contract negotiations for affordable housing, and contract negotiations. Forget the next one. Okay. When and if matters discussed become public record, the information will be made known to the public at the appropriate time. Public is excluded from said meeting. At further notice is hereby dispensed with, all in accordance with Sections 8 and 4A of the Open Public Meetings Act. Could I have a motion to go to closed session, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of going to closed session?
Aye.
Aye. Just to mention that the first part will be the SRVSA readout from our two commissioners, Joe LaFerri and Bob Albano. Gentlemen, if you'd come forward, please. The door is now closed. We're on? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We have just closed the closed session. The door, chambers is open, and we are in open session. As promised before the meeting, there is an additional item that was discussed in closed session that I'm now going to read for action. It's authorizing a grant to Novell LLC of 610 Anderson Avenue, Cliffside Park, New Jersey, 07010, for up to $525,000 from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to enable Novell to purchase property at Route 202-206, known as Block 406, 1.201, to build 15 units of affordable housing. These 15 units will include 4 units for disabled veterans, and among other things. This is, by the way, a mortgage note. There is a statement that I'd like Councilman Ring to state at this point in terms of a future change. Go ahead.
No, I was going to move it with the understanding that the agreement will contain a 30-year reverter clause.
There you go. Okay. And that will be so noted. If there are any other questions,
Need a second.
going to move to a second.
I'll second.
Second. Any other comments? Roll call, please, on the additional item.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. I believe that concludes our agenda for tonight. The last piece of
Alan, you got
business
something to say?
would be adjournment.
Adjourn.
We have a motion. All those in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Navigated like a pro.